Yes, everybody, good morning. Happy Monday morning, the 8th of September. Why is it a happy Monday morning today? Well, the international week is about to finish tomorrow and it's back to business. It's back to the Manchester derby this Sunday. Big decisions needed to be made by Manchester United. This morning we're talking the goalkeeping situation, the confidence Manchester United have got internally in Senna Lamens. Is he going to play this weekend? We'll discuss that, debate it amongst you all in the live chat. So get in there and give me your thoughts on that as well. We're going to get you up to date with the Onana situation and where we're at with that. It is thought that this deal is going to be concluded in the next few days as soon as Andre Onana finishes international duty for Cameroon. So we're going to go through that this morning as well. And a general look ahead to everything that's coming up this week as well, everybody. A few words from Ralph Rangnick around Garnacho and what he said that have really come true with that. And everything internally around the injuries around United and international duty this morning on the show. Get into the comment section. Let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts and let's get talking. Let's start with the goalkeeping situation. First of all, obviously throughout the weekend we had the blockbuster news that Andre Onana is finally leaving Manchester United. It looks all done and dusted. We did the video last night. Thank you everybody for bearing with me last night. It was a long day. We lost our FA Cup game for Winton yesterday, so it was commiserations and it was a bit of a downbeat afternoon. So I updated you on the news last night with Andre Onana and where we're actually at. After that video went out, we had a big update from Fabrizio Romano, and this is pretty much where we're at with the deal as of Fabrizio Romano now with Andre Onana. The deal is verbally agreed between all parties and it's even signed on the player's side. The loan deal does not include a buy option clause. He will return to Manchester United in 2026, as we already knew. There was no one going to be committed to buying Andre Onana. It's big enough that he's actually got a loan in the first place, I think is the opinion of many Man United fans. He goes on to say, the loan deal does not and doesn't include a loan fee, so Trabzonspor will pay part of the salary of Andre Onana but will not pay a loan fee to Manchester United. That's interesting then what Romano said, because a few sources have come out and said the entirety of the wage of Andre Onana is going to be paid by Trabzonspor. We'll see how that develops when it gets closer to him signing his signature. I'll actually just read on more what Romano says here, because it'll all sort of make sense in the end anyway. Andre Onana's salary will be slightly higher than the salary he's having at Manchester United, because yes, Trabzonspor will pay part of that, but also there will be something in addition as a signing on fee for Andre Onana. This guy has swum the channel, hasn't he? He really has. Honestly, I really don't care. You go pay him what you want. He's out of Man United, and that's all I'm bothered about. But I'm staggered that he's actually earning more money going to a team that finished 7th in the Turkish League last season from Manchester United. It just shows you exactly where we are with our recruitment, the goalkeeper himself, where he's going, and the fact that they're willing to pay him more. I don't know. Manchester United and Trabzonspor need to exchange all documents and sign all contracts. Then the plan for Onana's side is to travel to Turkey on Thursday and sign his contract and be announced as a Trabzonspor player ready for this weekend's games in Turkey. That is the full update on where we're at with Andre Onana. It's done. Everything is agreed. It is just the necessaries now getting this over the line. Manchester United have said yes to the move, and what's happening with the wages that's covered from Trabzonspor, that obviously will be discussed later on this week when he's finalised and signed. So like I just said a moment ago there, in terms of what one source is saying, paying his full wages, Romano's saying he's paying part. I honestly really don't care at the moment. We are saving money on the wages of Andre Onana. He's out of the football club, and more importantly, we can concentrate on the football side of things rather than overpaying a player that really doesn't deserve to be in Manchester United side. I think that's quite clear. So that's where we're at with the actual deal itself. Thursday looks like the day. Obviously, we're praying that he gets through this game with Cameroon without an injury. Oh my God, can you imagine? That is the only thing left now that can scupper this. And obviously, I've touched every bit of wood that I've got in the studio already on this one. But they've got one more game to play, Cameroon, which I think it's this evening or it's actually tomorrow. I can't remember which one it was. I was looking at the fixtures earlier on for the internationals. But by Tuesday, we will know, making sure, obviously, if I'm Cameroon right now, if I'm Manchester United, I'm telling Cameroon that Andre Onana needs to sit that game out. I'm sure you've got adequate goalkeeping cover there for Andre Onana in the side. So sit it out, get that deal over the line with no complications. That is the only thing now. And I'm not jinxing it, I promise you. But you're all concerned that something could go wrong with this one. It's too good to be true right now. But their last game is, I think, like I said, tonight or tomorrow. Once that is done, he will travel to Turkey. I think we'll go back to Manchester, I think, maybe collect belongings and whatnot, and what's necessary with Manchester United side of things. Then move over to Turkey, fly over there with his agent and sign the 1-year contract at Trabzonspor, deal with his bonuses and whatever he's getting. Again, yep, do what you want, Trabzonspor, but that is Onana done and out of Manchester United for this season anyway. But like Romano says there, look, nobody was expecting anybody to do full commitment to Andre Onana. There was never going to be an obligation or an option to buy on this deal. It's too late in the day. United know where they're at. They will be moving Andre Onana on permanently next summer. It's been made very, very clear by Ruben Amorim that this is now the plan going forward for Manchester United. They have 3 goalkeepers in at the club. Number 1 is Senna Lammens, and that is thought to be Manchester United's top choice, and are very, very confident. In fact, around Manchester United, Romano was also saying last night that Manchester United believe that Senna Lammens could be the next big thing. Where have we heard that before? Let's steady on. Let's hold our horses on the goalkeeper just yet. We don't know. He's never played a game in the Premier League. Let's just deal with that first of all and see if he is a normal goalkeeper. They want him to play a complete. They want him to play and compete with Altay Bayindir. This is why Onana feels there won't be enough room for him at Manchester United. This was Fabrizio Romano last night talking on the same video, going through the details, what's happened behind the scenes with Manchester United and Andre Onana, and the fallout and everything that's gone down. There has been a fallout. I think that's been well documented now and talked about. Obviously, Andre Onana didn't go down well in pre-season. We covered that the other day also. And I think Manchester United forced the hand of the goalkeeper and his agent by bringing in Senna Lammens. Now, Senna Lammens is the debate that's really going to be the hot topic and everyone's talking about this week ahead of the derby. Does he play? Manchester United players, in fact, don't actually come back to Carrington to training until Wednesday. I found that a bit strange. I thought the other players would have been coming back, to be honest. But I think Manchester United coming back on Wednesday now. Personally, I feel the way that Ruben Amorim works, I wouldn't put it past him putting Senna Lammens in. I'm not saying he's not going to play. But with only, 3 days worth of training with the first team, he's going to have to really impress. Now, there was supposedly that game that was going to be going on behind closed doors against Aston Villa. There was a rumour, I think the MEM were reporting, that there is a warm-up and a tune-up game for Senna Lammens, so Manchester United can have a look at how the goalkeeper actually performs, what he's like, and then a decision will be made. I'm guessing if there's a warm-up game and there's only 3 days to the Manchester derby in terms of training time, I don't see, knowing what Ruben's like, and I wouldn't have a problem putting Senna Lammens straight in. I've already given my reasons why on that. But I don't see Ruben playing him in the derby. If I'm being honest, I think Bayindir starts in the Manchester derby for Manchester United. That's just my feeling at the moment. Obviously, we will gauge from talks, press conferences that are coming up this week as well before the Manchester derby. That's on Friday for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. So it's going to be a very interesting press conference. Obviously, I think it's going to be a lot easier press conference for Ruben this week, because obviously certain situations have now been dealt with since his last press conference, i.e. certain players are out of the door. Onana is gone by the time this press conference has happened. He doesn't have to answer any awkward questions, but you can gauge how he's talking, and probably from what he says and how he says it about Senna Lammens or Altay Bayindir in his press conference this week about who he's probably going to start. I think the journalists will be in and around Manchester United asking questions this week leading up to it. You'll see a few reports start to leak out amongst the media around Manchester United's thoughts on who starts. My guess, and it's only a guess because I want Lammens to start. You've invested in a goalkeeper here. You've made a big statement. The games are not going to get any easy off. I know it's the Manchester derby. It's away from home, but let's be honest, there's no game for Manchester United that this keeper is not going to be under pressure in. If he's got a few shots coming at him, it might actually do him better being in that type of game first, rather than a game where United dominate the ball and then the keeper's only got 1 or 2 things to do. I would always like a goalkeeper to be busy in a game if he's just settling in, personally. I don't like the thought of City having multiple shots. It means that we're getting battered. I know that, but You get what I mean? I think just to be in and amongst it instantly, I think will be a big a big plus point for him, and I think it will give him a lot of confidence as well if Ruben puts him straight in one of the biggest games of the season. You can imagine the confidence within him when that gets the call. Obviously, Bayndare, let's be honest, I don't think anybody's bothered about Bayndare. I think he's fully acceptant of being a number 2. I'm not worried about upsetting his feelings about him being dropped, because apart from the blunder in the Arsenal game, yeah, I don't think he's been horrendous. He's definitely been better with his feet and definitely moving the ball around. And I think with him in goal, I felt more comfortable than having Andre Onana. But like we said, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's still not good enough for Manchester United. And you've just invested in Senna Lamens, so get him in that team. I don't think it makes a difference if he starts against City or Chelsea. Pick a game. Chelsea are actually better than Manchester City, and he's going to have the Old Trafford crowd behind him, and if things go wrong, it might be harder for him. Look, you can pick and choose. You're splitting straws there, aren't you, really? Like, you're splitting hairs there, sorry, aren't you? And it's... I don't think it makes any difference. It's brought us along with me, and I would just put him straight in. But hey, look, that's where we're at the moment. Manchester United are fully confident in their goalkeeping department now. Senna Lamens is going to be a number 1 goalkeeper for Manchester United in time. It just depends whether he's going to be number 1 goalkeeper this weekend. I think that's the conversation floating around at the moment. Will Senna Lamens make his debut against Manchester City? And I think that is it's a big call. It's a huge call, because it is obviously a massive game. It's his first game back from international duty. It's his first game in Premier League football. It's a big ask. I get it. It's a massive ask. It's a lot of pressure. And the City fans will be doing him no favours at all in this game. And that's up for Ruben to decide now. But Altay Bayndare has never played in this fixture either. So that's another thing that you have to remember. Like, he hasn't played in a Manchester derby either. So you've got 2 goalkeepers who have got no history of this fixture whatsoever. I think it's going to come down to how Ruben feels when he works with Senna Lamens in training. If there is this practice game, I don't know. Maybe the practice game they're going to use both goalkeepers and have a good sense of it. But let's get into the chat and see what you all think on this one and where you would go and what you think Ruben's going to do. What would you do and what do you think Ruben is going to do? They're the questions anyway for the start of the week, people. Manny straight in with the super chats. He's 22. They are already pumping him up. Do you put the lad in against arguably the biggest derby? Personally, I would debut him against Chelsea. Chelsea might be a bigger game, mate. That's what people might say. Look, but then again, Altay Bayndare is 27 and he's never played a Manchester derby. So again, it's the pressure. We could argue the point on that, though, that Bayndare did play in a couple of Arsenal games. He was away from home against Arsenal in the Cup, was a hero there. He's used to English football a little bit more. There's definitely a case there for that as well. 210 then. I think that's how you say that. Welcome to the members club, my friend. Thank you very much for that. Keep your comments coming in, everybody. Talk to me. What would you go with? We have a poll running right now as well. Would you rate the summer window any higher now Onana is leaving on loan? 85% of you already have said yes on this, that you would rate this window a lot higher now that Andre Onana is gone. We did the show yesterday morning. Manchester United, if they get rid of Tyrell Malacia still in these last few days of this transfer window, which is open for Turkey and for Saudi Arabia, if they manage to move Tyrell Malacia on, Manchester United have managed to shift all of the bomb squad and Andre Onana and Rasmus Højlund in one window and replace them with key players that are going straight into Manchester United starting 11. It is an exceptional transfer window for Manchester United. And we also broke the news this weekend that Manchester United are planning on making a bid this January for Carlos Baleba. So this could also come back into play here for Manchester United, and that we could have let's just say a good season's transfer window if you include summer and January. If we go out and get Carlos Baleba in January, it has been the best 2 transfer windows that we have had or have ever had. Let's not forget, we could also do business with moving other players on. We've got, obviously, the situations developing with a few other Manchester United players that might be out of the door. Ruben has to be careful, I feel, in going into the next summer window. He's going to lose a lot of players. And obviously, Man United have to do well this season and we have to get back in Europe. But if we get back in Europe, you have to be ready to go with at least, I would say, 5 more players coming into Manchester United next summer. At least 5. Because you're going to lose a lot of players. And I don't want United just to be keeping hold of players because we need squad depth. And this means like Casemiro and Maguire. Send them on the way. Thank you very much for your service, lads. It was good. It was bad. It was exceptional in times. We had some moments. But it's time to move on. Already line up another centre-back to come in. Already line up another 2 midfielders to come in. Even if we get Baleba in January. This is what needs to be worked on now at Manchester United. What academy players are coming through. We need to obviously then look at extra finesse, I feel, in the wing-back areas also. But United have done quite a lot here already, but the squad is going to be smaller next summer. And I think we need to have more. Like, this is great. We'll play City, then we'll have a whole week's rest before we move on to Chelsea. And that's great, and that's going to give us an advantage. But next season, it could be completely different. So I think preparation has to be spoken about and has to be already in play. And work is going on behind the scenes now with the recruitment team to be ready for January and next summer. I would not be surprised if Man United brought more than 2 players in January. I really wouldn't. If they can take the opportunity of this financial year with what they've just saved now in the players that they've sold and the wages that are off the books and get players in January, then that gets them European football. They could be sneaking in ahead of other clubs in the summer who can't afford to buy players in January because they've already spent up. I reckon United have got some money left over. And I reckon they could try and steal a march on some of their competition and get players in January. So watch January. I think it could be big for Man United still. Let's get some comments in there. DOP3 says, I like being there. He just needs to control the box better in corners and set pieces. He'll be a good number 2 keeper and definitely better than Onana. I agree with that one. Compa Smith says, 2 midfielders next year. I don't want to be seeing excuses. I think there'll be more, mate. I do. Greg says, if we spend 110 million in the summer, nobody can argue that Ruben isn't being backed or that Ineos aren't pushing. No, I don't think anyone's got any argument that Ruben isn't being backed. And I said this, I can happily now going into this season, and I am not going to give Ruben any excuses. He had offers on the table for Ugarte. He's got Kobe Mainu there. He's the one who's brought Bruno Fernandes back in. He got rid of Toby Collier. This is his team. He could have demanded a midfielder in and got a midfielder in. Yep. So Ruben right now, with everything that we have got in this squad, with no European football, I expect European football next season. I expect United to be finishing top 6 at least. That's my mark right now, and I won't be happy if he doesn't get there. We can now fully judge Ruben Amorim. Every headache has gone. And that's every headache in every different way. Like we said yesterday, the quality of Rasmus and Andre Onana not being good enough, gone. The nightmare behind the scenes of Sancho, Garnacho and Marcus Rashford, the problem players, gone. Out of the way. The players that are just not good enough, that need releases, that you needed releasing, that you just had to try and find minutes for. No disrespect to Johnny Evans. Yes, he did a job for Manchester United. Thank you, Johnny. Brilliant service. But Victor Lindelof, players like this. Christian Eriksen was never getting into a Ruben Amorim team. He's not intense enough to play in that system. Gone. All out of the way. Manchester United have just released, sold or loaned out a full starting 11 for Manchester United. And you can go through that whole team and make an 11 players. So he decided on a lot in this summer transfer window, and he could have demanded a lot more because Ineos are fully backing him, like the comment says there. So I feel now, full judgment on how Ruben Amorim really operates. This is it. And it's a big 6 games coming up for Manchester United now, which I think is going to determine what we're going to be expecting this season. Like, honestly, these 6 games are absolutely massive. And it's hard work. This is going to be hard work, this. There's going to be a lot of stress. There's going to be a lot of drama, I'm sure. But when you look at them, City, Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland, Liverpool, Brighton, that is, on paper, probably the toughest run of games right now that you could ask for. you've got the unknown of Brentford in the middle of the quality of City and Chelsea. Obviously, you don't know what's going to come. Them games can go either way. And you're not surprised if we win, lose or draw any of them games. And we could easily lose them games. Then you move on to Brentford. You don't know what's coming. It's the unknown with them at the moment. Sunderland are on a high still from being promoted, spending a fortune, doing well, and having a couple of wins already. And then after the international break in October, you've got Liverpool and Brighton. Say no more. They are just tough games on paper, no matter which way you look at it. And United haven't got a good record in either. So Ruben right now, he's right under the hotspot. He's right under that spotlight. And it's going to be a big test for him. Not having games in the middle of the week is going to help United massively prepare for these games. And I just won't have any excuses for him. More comments coming in. Sai Darby says, I still think City is the perfect game. Pep plays more pure football, more than the dark arts. True. Lesser teams would target a new goalkeeper more than Pep's team. That would just play their natural game. Yeah, I get that. That's a good comment there, actually, Si, because you could have someone like a Fulham or a Brentford or a team like this or an Everton. No disrespect to them teams. Obviously, if they did better than us last season. So they would target a new goalkeeper. They would put the ball underneath the keeper's head. Not saying City won't do this, like from corners. First thing I'm doing is putting that ball right under the goal, right on top of Senna Lamens if he's playing, and let's see if he can take the rough and tumble. Let's see if he can take a Haaland and a Diaz pounding in on him and seeing if he can get hold of that ball. Because Andre Onana and Altay Bayndé couldn't. But from what we've seen and the videos we've seen and where we're going in on Senna Lamens this morning is that Manchester United feel like he is very, very capable of handling what the Premier League is going to bring. He will be Man United's number one this season. And I think his collecting of crosses percentage is the stat, I think, is how you pronounce it. Well, you can say it how you want, but in terms of cross completion, let's just say, for a goalkeeper, Senna Lamens is right up there. He's higher than all four. I think we did a chart on one show where it was better than Diogo Costa, Andre Onana, and Gianluigi Donnarumma. I think he was better at coming and collecting crosses. Now, yes, you could say there's different levels of football leagues, and the quality of football is different in Ligue 1, in the Bundesliga, Serie A, Premier League, La Liga, any of them leagues. Yes, it's not the Belgian league, but you're coming for a cross, and you've still got bodies running in at you. I don't care who you are. There isn't one player in the Premier League that can head a ball better or challenge for a ball stronger than someone in the Belgian league. Cross completion is massive, and a goalkeeper needs to dominate that area no matter who the quality of player is on the pitch. You could have Ronaldo running in at you. It doesn't matter. You come out and claim that ball, and that area of the game for goalkeepers is something that we just don't have. We don't have. We've seen Onana flapping at Grimsby. We've seen Bayndé flapping against Arsenal. I don't think you're going to get that with Senna Lamens. I think he's going to be more of a stronger goalkeeper. And the videos that I've seen, you can forget the saves. The saves I expect every goalkeeper to make. It's bread and butter. I sound like Roy Keane the way I'm talking there. But do your job. Save the shot. That's easy for a goalkeeper. It's everything else that I look at. It helps the game. And coming for crosses, taking the pressure off the defence in their moments, that's what Senna Lamens excels at. And I think that is why Manchester United are happy to bring him in now and put him in ahead of someone like we were even talking about and discussing on transfer deadline day in Emi Martinez. It's a big, big call, but there is a lot of confidence in at Manchester United. So, yeah, I actually feel like there is a real decision to be made this week, and still, I don't think they're going to play down Senna Lamens playing in this game at all. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as Bayndé coming in because it's the Manchester derby. I really don't. Graham in the chat says Amorim and Wilcox wanted a midfielder. It's on record. They've not given them one. Well, they went for the best, Graham, and they couldn't get the best because it wasn't available, mate. So, yeah, no, stop making excuses, mate. We're still judging Ruben Amorim, even if he doesn't have a midfielder. He's got more than enough to handle this Premier League season and get right up there. I don't want any more excuses at all. He has to be judged and judged properly. Are you serious? Amorim's main priority was a midfielder, and he wanted a right wing-back, but he didn't get fully backed. He got backed. Come on, everybody. He didn't want a right wing back at all. His priorities were, yes, he wanted a midfielder, he wanted a goalkeeper, but yeah, you don't get them all of the time. Like we said before, in other transfer windows, you will go back and get that player in January if the club didn't get him the first time. So judge the transfer window off the players that they've got rid of and the players that have come in areas like Ruben could have easily said, you've still got Bruno Fernandes for a 10 and spent the money on a midfielder and got him in. It's his call to buy 2 10s. So, yeah, Bruno, Mount, Xerxes, Ahmad, you didn't need to buy 2 10s. I love the 10s we've got, but that's on Ruben. He wanted them too. And he could have easily said, I'll take another 8 in midfield instead of having another 10. So I'm not having it. I'm not. Like, he needs to perform now, and I think he will. I do. I fully back Ruben Amorim. And I'm not having anyone make an excuse just to saying that they wanted a midfielder and they didn't get one and he's not been backed. He was backed. He's been fully backed. He's had another 200 million plus spent on him this summer transfer window, with a third of a starting lineup brought in, with some absolute, let's just say, average players moved out as well at the same time. Massive window. I would rate this window 9 out of 10. Belabouring January makes it 10 out of 10. I'm still concerned about that midfield. Can it sustain itself by January? I could see Mazraoui having to be used in midfield. There's a lot of people bringing up certain defenders or other players being moved out of position to play in midfield, actually, at the moment. That is a popular conversation going on. But, yeah, it's all very, very, I feel right now, open, and I think the conversation and people's thoughts within the Man United fan base is, I need to see these next few games to judge where we're actually at, to give my full sort of verdict on what's happened and how we're going to go forward. You don't know, do you? You just don't know. So I do think that Manchester United, the fan base right now, is in a little bit of a flux. They're happy with where we are. They're happy with the window. They're ready to go in on Ineos if we start losing because we didn't buy a midfielder. You can clearly see that. And that's everyone's opinions and everyone's welcome to them. They might have thought we could have done more. But I've said before, in terms of that, they're only getting top targets. And if they're not going to get the top targets, they're not going to bring anybody in. So, yeah, that's what you've got to look at. And I think that's better than just buying crap in. Go and buy, I said it the other day, go and buy another Donny van de Beek then and try and bring him in. Go and find another make-weight midfielder that we're then having to move on 2 seasons later because he's clearly not good enough. We're not making the same mistakes anymore. We want Baleba, and Baleba's going to come in January at best. But then again, we now need to see as well Manchester United work with Kobbie Mainoo. What's Ruben going to do with him? The fans are ready to judge that. Is he going to keep on dropping Amal Agate? Is he going to trust in him at some point and put him in there? Are we going to see a different midfield too with the minimal games that we've got? I don't think we are. I really don't. I think Ruben Amorim is set on his midfield now, and I don't think he needs to change it. Unless the player is playing really bad, I don't see him changing that midfield too of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. Definitely not in this next 6 games anyway. Kobbie Mainoo has to do something. Now, obviously, the injury side of things might bring in certain players, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, won't we? We will. Let's get some more comments in. 250 million and he's not been backed. Laugh out loud. He has and didn't choose the right players. That's on Amorim and recruitment, says Cal. Good managers work with the team they have and no one sorts out all the issues in one window. Amorim is back 7 out of 10 rating. Midfielder is still an issue though. That's a lot of people there. Stretford, Signal, Cal, CC. And a few others there saying the same thing that I can see in the chat at the moment. No full judgment until our biggest problem is solved. Midfield, come on, Grant, you've got to be able to judge him on what he's got right now. Everybody's been telling me that Kobbie Mainoo should be playing games. You've got a midfielder there that Ruben can use, so I'm not having it. He's got enough to handle just Premier League games. The players are fit. He's got multiple players there to use. He's got 3 midfielders, and you add Bruno to it as well. You can say it's a 4. He decided to loan Toby Collier, in knowing that we might not get the number 1 target midfielder because Collier left very late. Let's not forget that. So, no, I fully back Ruben Amorim. I think he will get it right. I do. But if he doesn't, then really, we can go in on him now. He's had enough time. He knows what is necessary at Manchester United. Look, he'll be his biggest judge anyway, and you'll see it with Ruben Amorim. You know what he's like. So I'm fully prepared to judge Ruben Amorim this season now with what he's got. I think he will get backed in January again. I want him to see out the rest of the season. I do. I don't want him to be sacked. I want him to be given that full season. And let's see where we go. And then we will get to that point where we're like near enough 2 years in. He's had enough time at Manchester United. He'll probably be getting close to 100 games in charge of Manchester United by then. I think we can allow ourselves to judge him by that time anyway. Please get a video like, everybody. We're already creeping up to that 400 mark. Let's see if we can get around that 500. Cheers, everybody, already. If you haven't, please hit the subscribe button as well. We are moving ever closer to our target, which is 100k. We are 229, I think it is, away from 100,000 subscribers. I'm hoping we can get there for the weekend and celebrate it with a win against City. I keep on saying that. I'm manifesting a Manchester derby win for this weekend. That's the main focus now. We have to look forward. The transfers are done. It's now time to get down to the football and look ahead. And we have got options there. We've got enough players, I feel, to win this game. Let's get some more comments in before we move on. We have got other updates coming in as well. Give Amorim some time with this team. The next 6 to 7 games will determine if he can make a success of it. Yep, that is. Ahmad seems like he wants to play at right wing back. He's so bad in that position. I don't think he is bad in that position. I really don't. I don't think he is at all. And let's say he will adapt and learn. And maybe if Ruben feels like he isn't able to play that position, when we go into next season, if we are in Europe, he's got more options there to rotate players around. He might bring another right wing back in. Ahmad might go back into 10. There's all sorts that could happen in there. Let's just see what the poll is saying right now. We've got nearly 1,300 votes on the poll. Would you rate this summer window any higher now that Onana has been sent out on loan? 84% of you have said yes, you would now rate the window higher because we've got rid of Onana. Keep voting on that poll, everybody, please. I'm going to keep on bringing the comments in, everyone, so please get in there with all of your thoughts on everything that we're talking about. Ant with the super chat says, disagree, Ineos are recruiting for their system. As in, like, talking about backing Ruben Amorim. Ruben has to work with the players that Ineos bring in. We can't bring players in just for Ruben Amorim. He can have his input and his say on it, but it has to be a mutual decision, I think. You have to be both parties agreeing to certain players. These players have to be able to work under the next manager if it doesn't work for Ruben, and he has to understand that. I'm pretty certain that's what you're getting at, Ant, there on that one. Right. More good news for Manchester United fans. Obviously, we did have the updates around Mason Mount and the injury situation at Manchester United going over the last few days, over the weekend, in fact. Looking good. He's back in the gym. And we've now got Matheus Cunha dropping constant social media clues. Now, his latest one was interesting because he put Sundays, I think it was a strong arm emoji and an egg timer emoji on his post, on his Instagram post. So everybody's thinking about Sundays, Manchester United, Manchester City. He's going to be back, egg timer. I think it was more saying he was training on a Sunday and this is what his Sundays are like. That's how I seen it anyway. But the fact that he's actually in the gym tells you that he isn't a million miles away from coming back anyway. In fact, there have been some reports within the media saying that Matheus Cunha and Mason Mount are touch and go, whether they could actually feature in the Manchester derby, which is obviously amazing news again. This off the back of, obviously, the Kobbie Mainoo situation. This does affect Kobbie because if Cunha isn't fit, if Mount isn't fit, then we are obviously going to see Bruno Fernandes move into the 10 against Manchester City. And if he does move into the 10, that gives Kobbie Mainoo the perfect opportunity to show Ruben Amorim what he's got in one of the biggest games of the season. So I'm not necessarily worried if Mount and Cunha are not fit. Obviously, I want them there for the derby, but I would love to see Kobbie Mainoo in the midfield. Perhaps maybe even next to a Casemiro with Bruno Fernandes joining Sesko and Mbumo up top. That's what I think is probably going to be the lineup. Now, that then brings in the question of Manuel Ugarte playing as well. But obviously, if Ugarte is the last back, which he always is from international duty, you would think the way that Ruben works in making sure that the players have had enough training time before they get on the pitch, it would make way for Kobbie Mainoo to start in the Manchester derby. And obviously with Kobbie Mainoo shutting down people on social media regarding his post to the Whiplash screenshots, Whiplash being the film, the drummer, the young protege who trains and works as hard as he can, and obviously finds it hard to please his mentor. A lot of people jumped on that at weekend, and I was bringing out the point that the media jumped onto that at weekend. And then other people on social media were saying, do we need to worry about what Kobbie Mainoo is actually saying here in this and what he's posting? He then comes back and replies to that and says that's a stretch. So, yeah, I think Kobbie's fully switched on. I think conversations have happened. I think we're in a lot more comfortable position than where we was, I say, 2 weeks ago with Kobbie Mainoo. And happily, I would love to see him start that game in midfield alongside Casemiro. Now, you could always argue, Adam, there's no legs in that midfield. But then again, like you look at the stats with Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte. I remember when, and I've done a video already on Ugarte being frozen out. I remember over a year ago, Manchester United were first linked to Manuel Ugarte, and there was a stat that came up that worried me. Yes, his ball recoveries are decent, everything like that. Amount of tackles in a game, fantastic. But he was dribbled past, I think, at least 2 times every single game for PSG. That was a stat that came up. And I remember doing the video. I remember don't jump in and buy Manuel Ugarte. Look, I thought there was a lot more positives than negatives, but something that we needed to look at the time and was concerning was that stat. Now, this video I did was over a year ago, so I can't remember the date. I think it was a July time, back in 2024, actually, when we were just signing or looking at maybe going in for Ugarte. But stats come out in his time at Manchester United from last season into this season, and already in these stats for both Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte. Manuel Ugarte, I think, gets dribbled past at least 1.3 times per game. Kobbie Mainoo, 0.6 per game. So, if anything, Kobbie Mainoo is just as robust and as good in the tackle and reading the game as what Manuel Ugarte is, who is the natural fitting 6. And Kobbie Mainoo is a better passer of the ball. Strength-wise, I think it's pretty much the same. Because Kobbie Mainoo is absolutely solid. He is a strong player. And you'll see that when you watch him play. I don't think there's any reason why, if you've got Casemiro on the pitch, Manuel Ugarte has to play. Now, you could always say, 2 defensive players, you're going away to Manchester City, let's shut up shop and try and play on the break and do that. But then again, like I just said, if you've got technical players at Manchester City dribbling past Manuel Ugarte, what's the point in him being there over Kobbie Mainoo anyway, is my opinion on that. I would start Kobbie over Manuel Ugarte every day of the week because his passing is better, his vision is better, and he is 20 times more composed on the ball than what Ugarte is. So if I'm going to pick a team and you're giving instruction to a player on that game, for instance, Ruben Amorim's going into the derby, Kobbie, I need you to do this. I need you to do this role. I think he does it better than what Ugarte does anyway. And I think he will accept that and do it because he knows what game he's playing in and he knows what's at stake. So I'm not saying that Ugarte can't do it. Don't get me wrong. I think Ugarte has got qualities. But if I'm picking between 2 players again, I'm always going Kobbie Mainoo ahead of Manuel Ugarte. He scares me at the moment, Ugarte. And I think he said he's on the block for the summer as well. Under Omar Barada's rule anyway, like we said in the previous video last week about Ugarte being frozen out, I think he is in danger. 2 years and hasn't done it. Hasn't got any better. In fact, this season he started off worse than what he did last season. So he's in regression at the moment. Whether or not he can turn it around, the problem I see in that is there isn't enough games for Ugarte to turn it around because as soon as everyone's fit again, and like I said, there's no reason with 1 game a week for Ruben Amorim to change things up. So these games, when we've got injuries or you've got a chance, you have to be absolutely on it when it comes to Ruben Amorim being convinced by you, I feel. And this is, I think the Manchester derby could be a massive chance for Kobbie Mainoo going forward. But obviously, that's come about from the injury situation. I would like Mount and Cunha to both be fit and available because I think both of them players look after the ball very well. And I do believe Manchester United and Ruben Amorim would play them if they were fit. And I think Sesko would miss out. And I think Mainu would miss out again. And then we'll deal with that problem. Let's just check through the news. What's happening this morning. Transport will cover Onana's salary in full, says Laurie Whitwell. So a difference again. This is what we're saying at the start. A few people have been retweeting this from last night. In fact, it's come out again this morning. So Transport, according to The Athletic, will cover the entirety of Andre Onana's wage and pay him a bonus for going to the club. The man swam the channel, hasn't he? He really has. So Manchester United will save this season £6.4 million in Andre Onana's wages. 6.2 or 4, one of the two. The Athletic have confirmed that. Now, Romano said, like we said at the start of the show, is part of his wages covered and a bonus on top. Again, you decide who you want to believe on this one. That's the Athletic saying that the full wages is going to be covered, or Romano. They're the two big ones. Yeah, it's up to you. You decide. But yeah, with that one, I tend to go with Laurie Whitwell, because Laurie Whitwell, like I've always said, with the Andre Onana situation, was the man that got the scoop on the inside info. He knows a lot what goes on, of what's going on behind the scenes with Andre Onana. He was the first to know about that transfer back in 24. Or was it 23? I can't remember now. 23, I think it was, wasn't it? So I would believe in what Laurie Whitwell said in that one, and that Manchester United have got another wage off the books for this season. So again, bodes well for what we need to do in January. And I think United will make a move. I think they'll go for Baleba in January. Let's get some comments in, everybody. Get talking to me, please. I think Mainu was just relating to the main characters struggling to perfect his skill. Must be careful what he posts, though. Again, I haven't got any issue with Kobbie Mainu posting that. I just knew that the media and other people, like was proven, took it a completely different way and went with their own agenda or narrative. They have to be careful with what they post, because in that film, there is a lot of fallout, there is a lot of arguments, and there is a lot of disagreement between, let's just call it the manager and the player, instead of the teacher and the drummer. You only have to watch that film to know exactly what he's going to there. It is. But I like football, Red Devils there. Yeah, I can see it that way as well, mate. But you are right. He has to be careful what he posts. And social media is deadly at the moment. If you're a player that's struggling, social media is horrible, because one thing that you post could be completely spun around into a million different narratives and agendas. It really could. And it will. It's just part of football life. It's part of everybody's life right now, isn't it? You always have to be careful what you post and what you write, and it can be taken completely the wrong way. I want United players to play football instead of causing trouble with their agents and putting out stupid social media posts. That's from Graham. I think he's just saying what everyone else is wanting right now, to be honest with that. I just want to talk about the football. Just play football, get your head down and work. Troy Deeney said it about Kobbie Mainu. You don't have a right to be moaning about where you're playing in the side. Train, show the manager that you belong in that side, and let's go. Otherwise, time's up. And it's as simple as that, really, isn't it, with these players? And what we want to see anyway, as fans, we just want to see them working hard and trying to get back in the side. It's never easy. And sometimes you may feel like you've had a raw deal. And I can understand Kobbie's side of it as well, from where he's at. But look, you're at United, mate. Like, why do you think that you have got this, entitlement to be in that side? Just go and play your game. Prove to everybody you are the player that we all know you are. And you'll be in that side, playing football. Why did we give PSG the money to buy João Neves by buying Ugarte? It doesn't seem like the best in class. No, that was probably one of Ineos's... Well, let's see. Look, I can't say it's one of Ineos's mistakes. I will give Ugarte this season. I'm concerned, but I will obviously let him play out the season, see how he does. He might turn into a player for us yet. You never know. Second season syndrome is well and truly underway, you could say. And we'll see if his head is on the block, like I said, by the end of this season. International duties, where are we up to with that? Obviously, we've seen the England debacle on Saturday. Didn't matter one bit for us because we got no players in it, apart from Marcus Rashford, who was poor. And that was it. Nothing more to be said about that England performance. Crap. It's all I will say. Everybody else and where we're up to, players playing. We are finished tonight for Patrick Dorgu and Benjamin Sesko. They have their second games. Matthias de Ligt got 2 minutes for Holland, which is good news for us. Holland without Matthias de Ligt in the side conceded 2 goals to Liechtenstein. So, judge them. And I was saying on Football Talks yesterday, actually, who are your favourites for the World Cup? Holland are a million miles away from favourites to do anything in this World Cup coming up. They're a poor side, but the brilliance in that is that Ronald Koeman is actually doing us a favour right now by not playing Matthias de Ligt. He is already back in Manchester and he's ready for the game this weekend. Excellent news. De Ligt's had 2 weeks off, so I'm buzzing with that. Absolutely buzzing. We do have a poll running right now. Who would you start on Sunday? Bayndeh or Senna Lammens? Get into the comments, into the poll, please, everybody. And if you are catching up later on, please put the comments in below and let me know who you would start this weekend. That is the question for the comment section after the live is finished as well. Bayndeh or Lammens for the Manchester derby. The poll is up right now, everybody. Get voting on that before we finish up the show. But yes, in terms of the internationals, the last games are tomorrow. And everybody will be done back. The South American contingent, obviously, you will see their games finish probably in the early hours. Obviously, they're behind, so it'll be the early hours of Wednesday for them, and they come back. But the beauty of this international break as well is that we don't actually have a game on Saturday. We have the extra day's rest because we're playing Sunday afternoon. So even the South American players coming back obviously are going to have that extra day anyway, which gives Ruben, I think, more time. We could actually train or light train on Saturday and be ready for the game against City on Sunday. So plenty of time for Manchester United and Ruben to assess the internationals and get a team together on the pitch. And like with that, maybe a decision will be made on the Matheus Cunha and Mason Mount injuries. Keep an eye out for pictures this week with the... keep an eye out this week, pictures of possibly seeing Leacher back on the training ground with the first team as well. Nowhere near ready to come back in yet, and don't be expecting him to feature in the next couple of weeks, I don't think. Maybe a chance that we see him in one of the Brentford/Sunderland matchday squads. That's all that's being said. Half a chance of seeing him in a few weeks' time before we head back to international duty for October. Just keep an eye on that. But yeah, that would be a massive plus point for Manchester United. Thank God international football is boring, says Carl. Consistency must also be held at the training ground too, says John. Yeah, it should, and that goes for all players. And I think that needs to be what Kobbie Mainoo knuckles down to as well right now. We're talking about him. He is the obvious player that you think about when you're talking about knuckling down in training right now. I think it's automatically him. So, yes, that, I think, is the most important thing for him right now. And Manuel Ugarte, for that matter, because none of them are starting. Let's not forget that. It's Bruno, it's Casemiro. There is one place up for grabs against Manchester City, I think, if we still got the injuries to Mount and Cunha. I'm stuck between wanting to see what Kobbie can do from the start and seeing Sesko start. But then again, I think Cunha and Mount have been excellent so far this season, and I would have no issue if they started the game against Manchester City either. I think Mount's been a breath of fresh air this season, and I'll stand by my comments. Out of all Manchester United players, Mason Mount has been the most consistent performer this season so far for Man United. He's our best player. By the way, interesting stat just came out. The quickest player in the Premier League so far this season. Now, this player, we've actually got a player at number 2, and it's not who you would think. It's not who you would think. If it was a Man United player you think was absolutely rapid and up there right now and registered the second highest speed in the Premier League this season, and you've seen some of the players at Brighton, obviously Dan James is up there as well. These sorts of players, they're really quick players. Bryan Mbeumo is the second quickest player in the Premier League this season. It was registered in the game against Fulham. And man, when you watch the video back, does he actually shift? He is deceptively quick. very, very quick. And that, I think, is another plus point. But just wanted to bring that up there as well, because he doesn't get really talked about much for his speed, Bryan Mbeumo. But he has registered the second fastest time in the Premier League this season for any player. Mad. By the way, everybody, we have got the link up in the chat for the OK jerseys, the replica kits. They are on sale right now. If you use promo code Adam as well, get yourself another 8% off them. So you will be getting shirts for as little as £14, £13. All the kits out there for every single European team around. That's on that link in the live chat. Also, as well, in the description at the top there, you will see Match Bingo as well. The QR code will be up on your screen momentarily as well. Match Bingo is rocking this weekend for the Manchester Derby. There are so many specials on, including an extension to the 200% deposit bonus right now on Match Bingo. If you download the app off the link in the description, we'll pop it up in the live chat as well in a moment for you, and the QR code when it comes up on the screen in a moment. If you download the app off that, deposit £5, that will be doubled by Match Bingo instantly to £10 anyway. But if you put in the promo code FUTV, all capitals, you will get a deposit bonus of 200%. That special is continuing this week in preparation for the Manchester Derby, everybody. So join us for the watch along this weekend. We are covering the game, so make sure that you are there. Also, on that, with all of the Match Bingo stuff as well. So make sure that you get your bonus in there ready for the game. Get your cards in and play along with us. Have some fun with your friends while we're beating Manchester City at weekend. Get on it now, people. Right, Raws with a super chat. I am waiting for Sesko and Mbeumo to get some time together on the pitch. Get their timing right on crosses. Will be a thing of beauty to watch. Sesko from corners, Sesko from crosses. He is going to be a force for Man United this season. I cannot wait for him to start playing more consistently and being that threat from crosses for us. And I said, I'm not bothered who plays this weekend. If it's Sesko and Bruno in the 10 with Mbeumo, so if it's Sesko and Bruno with Mbeumo, that doesn't sound right, does it? Then I'm happy with that. If it's Mount and Cunha with Mbeumo, I'm happy with that as well, because they have done well so far. I would like to see Bruno just stay in the 10. That's what I would like to see him there. Look, how has the time got there? My God. Thank you, everybody. I'll wrap things up on the show there. I'll let you crack on with your Monday and start your week. Good luck on the school run, everybody, if you're out there. A bit of rain and everybody back to school makes everybody on the road turn into absolute idiots. I know. Be patient, settle, chill, get a brew, whatever. I hope you have a great day. I'll be back later on with any updates, so stay tuned. Please hit that subscribe button to make sure that you are fully up to date with everything going on. I will be there ready to go. Also, it will help us get closer to our 100,000 subscriber mark before the Manchester Derby. That is this week's target. Cannot wait to get there. And a big thank you to you all again. Give the video a like on the way out. We're already over 500 likes, which is epic. And we move on. Get into the comment section afterwards, everybody, as well. The topic, of course, is who are you starting against Manchester City in goal? Is it Senna Lamens or Altay Bayindir? That's the question I'm going to leave you with. Get into the comment section. I'll see you all later on. Have a fantastic day and